Namaste and welcome to the 16th HMEC and 10th HMPC, Hindu Mandir Executive Conference and Hindu Mandir Press Conference. I'd like to welcome you all here for this inaugural session. As Anita just said, I have attended almost all HMEC except one which was held in New Jersey long time back, and one HMPC. Learn a lot attending and participating in HMEC. Many projects like Hindu Mandir, Hindu Viva Sanskar and Tersi Sanskar book, I was involved into. I like this conference very much because it's not that good planning, good speakers, good food. There are some resolutions done at the end of this, and there are many team member work around the clock. So this is such a great conference to attend. How many of you are for the first time here? Welcome. Wow, great. This is, I think, the whole concept and whole objective of this conference is networking and sharing the experience and best practices, right? So, like we were the host for one of the HMEC in Indianapolis, and by attending and talking to our executives and board, we are bringing from our temple like 4 youth who are coming here, and so the delegation of 8 has come from HTCI. I belong to Hindu Temple of Central India, Indianapolis. Please make new friends and pass on this information to your temple organization so that they can participate in the future. Welcome and enjoy HMEC. Now we are going to officially inaugurate the 16th HMEC and 10th HMPC by Deep Prajwalan. So I would like to invite at this time Swami Swatmanandji, Sri Sriman Murali Bhattacharya, Swami Vigyananji, Sri Abhay Asthanaji here for the inaugural and Deep Prajwalan. And Brahmdat Agrawalji. Please come in here.
ज्योतिरग्निः स्वाहा सूर्यो ज्योतिर्ज्योतिः सूर्यः स्वाहा अग्निर्वचो ज्योतिर्वचः स्वाहा सूर्यो वचो ज्योतिर्वचः स्वाहा ज्योतिः सूर्यः सूर्यो ज्योतिः स्वाहा ॐ रं जगज्योतिरूपाय नमः प्रातरग्निं प्रातरिन्द्रं हवामहे प्रातर्मित्रावरुणा प्रातरश्विना प्रातर्भगं पोषणं ब्रह्मणस्पतिम् प्रातः सोममुतरुद्रं हुवेम प्रातर्जितं भगमुग्रं हुवेम वयं पुत्रमधिदेव्यो विधत्ता आद्रत्यज्यं मन्यमानस्तु रक्ष्यते राजानित्यं भगं भक्षेत्याः भगप्रणेतद्भगतत्य राधः धियमुदवदन्नः भगप्रणो जनयगोभिरश्वैः भगप्रणविन्ध्रुवन्तस्याम उतेदानीं भगवन्तस्याम उत प्रवित्तमुत मध्ये अन्नः उतोदितामगवन्सोऽन्यस्य
Thank you. Since this is HMEC and HNPC, at this time I would like to invite HNPC priest for Swasti Vachan. So I would like to invite the priest to give a Swasti Vachan. All the priests or any priest here, we can join.
भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवापुंसस्तनूभिः विषेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ नमः सदसे नमः सदसस्पतये नमः सखेनां पुरोगाणां चक्षुषे नमो दिवे नमः पृथिव्यै सप्रथसभां मे गोपाय ये च सभ्याः सभासदः तानिन्द्रियावतः कुरु सर्वमायुरुपासत सर्वेभ्यो महाजनेभ्यो नमः
हरि ओम भूर्भुवः स्वः आनो
भद्राः कृतवो यन्तु विश्वतो दब्धासो अपरीतास उद्भिदाः देवानो यथा सदमिद्वृन्दे आसन्न प्रायुवो रक्षितारो दिवे दिवे देवानां भद्रासु मतिर्जूयतान् देवानां घोरातिरभिनो निवर्तताम् देवानां घोसख्यमुपसेविमा भयन् देवान आयुः रतिरन्तु जीवसे
विश्वानि
नि देव सवितुर्दुरितानि परासुवा जद्भद्रन्तन्न आसुवा
ओम
शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः
Thank you. What a great opening. We'll have a Shanknath, so we'll invite for a Shanknath. Thank you. So I would like to invite Yogesh Patel to introduce the grand host, CEO Kanubai Patel. Is Yogesh Patel here? Yagnesh Patel, sorry.
Namaste. My name is Yagnesh Patel. I'm from BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha in Robbinsville. I would also like to introduce our leaders here today. Kanubai Patel, CEO, he's in our audience. And Harish Bhai Bhatt, who is our community relations overseer. First and foremost, I want to thank each one of you to be so gracious to move your conference and be here in New Jersey. I probably would have hoped that we would have taken you to a warmer place, but your open hearts and warm hearts will bring warmth to New Jersey, and we're very grateful for you to doing that. On behalf of our Guru, His Holiness Pramukh Swami Maharaj and Guru Hari Mahant Swami Maharaj, I congratulate you all on the opening ceremony of the 16th HMEC and 10th HMPC conference. So we want to congratulate that 16 years of hard work. Many of you have started from the basement, and today we are at this place. I told Tejalben last week, those small infancies, those small little seeds sown. Today we have almost over 150 delegates seated here, and we congratulate you on that milestone that you've reached of the 16 years. Today I stand before you to discuss a profound and an ancient philosophy that has endured the test of time, Hindu Sanatan Dharma. I stand here before the leaders and champions of Hinduism who have worked tirelessly to make sure Hindu values remain vibrant in America and in the Western Hemisphere, and especially in next generations. In fact, when His Holiness Pramukh Swami Maharaj provided the vision and inspiration of BAPS Swaminarayan Akshardham in Robbinsville, he had shared two wishes. One, that every soul that visits Akshardham feels peace and inspiration. And two, our Sanatan values are preserved for 1,000 years, inspiring many generations to come. We know Hinduism and Sanatan Dharma is not merely a religion. It's a way of life, encompassing a rich tapestry of beliefs, practices, and values. At its core, Hinduism teaches us to seek truth, dharma, duty, and to strive for spiritual realization. The architecture and design of Hindu mandirs are a testament to the rich culture and heritage and artistic powers of the civilization. This is why His Holiness Mahant Swami Maharaj continues to inspire a landmark of art, architecture, and culture called Akshardham. It is a story of dedication and devotion of over 12,500 volunteers from all over the world who have worked for over 12 years to build this wonderful marvel. The stones were quarried from all over the world and were brought here and put as a 3D jigsaw puzzle. In New Jersey, the whole mandir was assembled piece by piece. I am sure many of you will get to see it in the coming days. We're looking forward to having you all tomorrow over there. But it is a moment of pride that Hindu community today has come so far that we can have a Hindu mandir like Akshardham in this country to embody a spirit of harmony. In conclusion, each of these 1.9 million cubic feet of stones in Akshardham sing the story about Hindu Sanatan Dharma with its profound values and ancient wisdom. Hindu mandirs in general stand as symbols of spirituality, unity, and cultural preservation. His Holiness Man Swami Maharaj lives a living credo with three messages. Be humble, don't find faults in others, and foster unity. And if you do these three things, nothing can stop you doing anything in the joy of others, which was the living credo of His Holiness Pramukh Swami Maharaj. Let us remember that we are all one family, that spirituality knows no boundaries, and that the pursuit of truth and righteousness is a universal endeavor that transcends time and place. Thank you, congratulations, and wishing you all delegates a best of conference in the coming days. And we look forward, on behalf of all the volunteers at BAPS Swami Akshardham, we look forward to hosting you tomorrow and sharing the stories of our youth who have spent all their time in the building of Akshardham. So thank you, congratulations, and Jai Swaminarayan.
Thank you, everybody. Jai Swaminarayan. At this time, I would like to invite Tejal Ben Shah. She's a convener of this HMEC. She's a General Joint Secretary of BHPA, an executive member of Hindu Community Center, New Jersey. She's volunteered with Bal Vihar for more than 20 years. She's an IT professional, and she has spent countless hours and days and months since last year. She, along with Vallabhaji, Anitaji, Hansa, and all the Matru Shaktis are behind this show. So what you are seeing today is the great effort by Tejal Ben. So please congratulate Tejal Ben on the fantastic.
Namaste, and I welcome Namaste. I welcome you all to 16th Hindu Mandir Executives Conference and 10th Hindu Priest Conference. This is a confluence of all the mandirs across North America, in which we count USA, Canada, and Caribbean islands. We Hindus come from far and beyond from our motherland, and we try always to maintain and sustain and have our roots tightly joined with our land. And that's what we want to cultivate further and beyond. When I was given the responsibility of Hindu Mandir Executives Conference convener, I had no idea that what it would take to bring the mandirs across the North America together. And I just said, okay, I will take it. I will work on it, because the mandir is at my heart. Mandir is something that I consider a foundation for our dharma. The other three parts that we should not forget is our shastras, our saints, and our daily satsang. So those three around the mandir, and then how mandir would step up and become the community center. that we all will hear, and we have been listening this from the last HMEC and even in past. So again, I welcome you all to this conference. There is a lot to learn, lot to put together as a community and march forward. This is a cruise sailing in ocean, and there might be rough waves, but I know that we all can survive and sustain together. Thank you very much for being here with us for 3 days, and I'm sure we will have a great conference, lot of learning, and lot of take-home activities, which I want you all to participate. And this is a small group, but this group can convey the message to the others in the society. How can we increase our strength? How can we increase our unity? And more mandirs participating in this, and how we can empower our mandirs. We want mandirs to step up and go beyond. So namaskar, and again, thank you all. Dhanyawad.
We are going to have a video of Swamiji, Swami Dayanand Ji.
That we need networking is not debatable. We survive only when we stand together. We need to hold on to each other and then stand, especially when there is a lot of hostility towards certain our customs, manners, ways of worship, ways of prayer. Then we need to have a lot of networking and then concerted efforts. All our efforts must be concerted. And therefore, I advocate very active networking.
So if you are following agenda, we have concluded the session 0, now session 1. In this session, we are going to have 3 speeches, HMEC keynote speech, HMPC keynote speech, and special guest address for another 40-50 minutes. So at this time, I would like to invite Swami Swatpananda Ji from Arsh Vidya Gurukulam for a keynote speech. Swamiji is a rare scholar who has delighted audience worldwide with his lecture on a wide area of Vedic knowledge, encompassing Hatha Yoga, meditation, Jyotish, Vedic astrology, Ayurveda, Vastu, and Vedanta, Vedic teaching on the ultimate nature of reality. Before being ordained into Saraswati order, Swamiji had a flourishing career that spanned diverse fields ranging from advanced technology and venture capital to international development, alongside with his involvement in numerous profit and non-profit organizations. However, the fleeting nature of worldly accomplishments propelled Swamiji to explore the wisdom of ancient civilization, such as the Greeks, Mayan, Incas, and the Hopi. Eventually, he found his anchor in the profound wisdom of ancient India embodied in Veda. Swamiji traveled great distance to learn from the foremost experts in Vedic knowledge. After having acquired this rare teaching, he was blessed with the guidance and tutelage from Swami Dayanandji, quintessential guru who adeptly unfolded the vision of Vedanta and the Bhagavad Gita with remarkable clarity and ease. Culturally, Swamiji's experience of growing up on 4 different continents and amongst the multiple traditions has led him to be emotionally multilingual and is able to connect with people from all backgrounds during his group lectures and individual consultations. His extensive world travel endow him with a mindful, multicultural view towards life, which reflect in his living and his teaching. His rare combination of intellect skills, broad life experience, and dedicated scriptural study translate into uniquely comprehensive approach to teaching and applying ancient wisdom of modern times. Swamiji's teaching styles make the elusive ancient wisdom accessible to all earnestly seeking for it. Please invite Swamiji. Thank you.
Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Swamiji made this video sometime about maybe 8 or 10 years ago. His statement, "We survive when we stand together." We survive when we stand together, especially when there is lots of hostility against our way of life. I'm quoting Swamiji exactly in the video. Swamiji and I had this discussion over a decade ago, and it has been my passion or interest in observing how exactly can we, in our community, stand together. In my travels in North America, in Europe, and even more recently in India, I find parents who are helpless. They're helpless because the hostility that they receive is from their own children or grandchildren. Why is it? Because the children say the parents are racist. Why? Because they are Hindus. Why? Because Hinduism is segregatory, discriminatory, and it's caste-based. And it discriminates against women. How do parents respond to that? They come to me to seek help. What do I tell them? The question is, how do we stand together in helping these parents? How did they learn this? News media, social media, recent wokeism repulse the next generation from things that we value, our way of life. Do we stand together as a community to help deal with these forces that are overwhelming in terms of their attack towards our way of life. What do we do as a community to stand to help not only our parents, but the next generation? When I look across the room, or when I go to any of these events, I see mostly immigrants. Where are your children? Why are they not involved? What are we doing to inspire them to be part of this movement? What is it that we don't do to encourage the next generation to see the value of our tradition, our culture, that they don't see? How can we oppose or counterbalance the news media, social media, and wokeism? That is, when we can do that, that is when we can stand together. If I look around in my global travels, that is, we as Indian community, we have achieved things that not many communities have achieved. In terms of wealth, just here in America, the combined wealth of Indians in America is more than the total wealth of the Indian government. There are individuals in this country who have more money than countries, developing countries. In terms of technology, I really don't need to say a lot, except that more than 30 top technological companies are run by Indians. Not only that, Indians are running other organizations that are not technological, Starbucks, CBS, and it goes on and on. It's incredible the amount of achievement we've had. Politically, we have an Indian Prime Minister whose parents are from Tanzania and Kenya, who is now the Prime Minister of Britain. We have the Portuguese Prime Minister, who is from Goa. We have the Scottish Prime Minister, who is from Pakistan. The other day, just a week ago, I was reading a Twitter comment, and it was really interesting. It was from a white person who said, brown people can do everything. Brown people can do anything, which actually touched me quite a bit, because in my past Purva Ashrama, before I came here, I was able to do quite a bit. So I know we are talented. I know we have the umph, the pizzazz to do whatever it takes. And we have demonstrated it over and over again all over the world, except for one thing. We have failed to stand together. If we could stand together, India would not be colonized. Alexander the Great could not penetrate India. He managed to create a crack, but he failed because at that time we stood together. When the Muslims came, they were able to create a valley. They were able to separate our communities. When the British came, they were able to put the final nail on the coffin. They were able to do that. The British was able to take over India without a major war. They used their own army, who were Indians, to control Indians and to take over India. Why? Because we could not stand together. If we did stand together, that would not have been possible. When I look around, for the past 700 years, our differences is what brings us down. Our differences, on the other hand, is an attribute that can make us better. Because it is with differences that we excel. However, when we turn those differences into aligning ourselves with other forces so that I can benefit from it, against my brother, against another Indian, this is where we lose. I, at some point, wondered as to why is it that our Indian community is so divided. In my analysis, I began to understand that we lack a long-term vision. We are focused on short-term vision. What is this short-term vision I'm talking about? Self-interest. We support our own parampara, our own tradition, our own clans, our own tribes, our own communities, our own regional interest. And because I want to survive, or I want to do better, I am okay aligning with the enemy. And this is exactly what happened. How we lost India, how we lost our communities. Now here's the thing. When Arjuna was in the middle of the battlefield, he, like everyone else, had self-interest. He could not fight against his guru, against Bhishma. He looks across. They're not enemies. They're people he knew, people he grew up with. What does Krishna tell him to do? Look beyond that. Fight for dharma. You need to fight for dharma. Now, what is dharma? It's not land, it's not food, it's not resources, it's a vision. You can say dharma is a concept or an idea, but it is a vision that guides who we are. It guides our way of life. He fought for that. Can we come together for that? Can we go beyond our self-interest and unite? Because the forces against us are overwhelming. The Christians have been doing incredibly well for centuries to divide us. And we are still entrenched with that division. We have not been able to surpass it and go beyond it. I can tell you, after September 11th, it was so difficult in this country to say that you're a Muslim. Today, we have Congress people who are Muslims. The State Department has an ambassador for Muslims. Do we have an ambassador for Hindus? Today it is okay to be a Muslim here. You know why? These countries, Middle Eastern countries, spend close to $1 billion on social media. They spend all that money to do a PR, to promote and to make it okay to be a Muslim, not only here and in the West. They have offices in major cities. Now, as it was mentioned, I was involved in venture capital. I was involved in 42 companies. Do you know how many of those companies ended up surviving? Let's say out of those 42 companies, there was $120 million invested. If you say 50% of those companies survived, that means 60 million lost. I can tell you, out of the 42 companies I was involved in, only 4 have survived. That's like $10 million. That means $120 million down the drain. There are 2 reasons why these companies failed. The first one, I can tell you for sure, was a dharma. Of course, I realized that in hindsight after coming. I'll take a few more extra minutes to finish up. So, a dharma. And I can give you a written guarantee, if there's a dharma in anything you do, there's no way it will last. But that's a different topic. The second topic, which is more important and relevant here, bad management. What that simply means is that if you do not have good management, there's nothing we can accomplish. We are trying to deal with these forces that are against us, that are well-funded, well-organized by volunteer organizations, part-time basis. You think we're going to go anywhere? When they started dismantling Hindutva last year, we reacted feebly, powerless. We need to be proactive. And so to be proactive, what do we need to do? Number one, we need good funding for proper organizations, number one. Number two, we need professional staff to run the organizations. We cannot deal with these forces by doing volunteer work. The time for volunteerism is really good, but every organization that is dealing with Hinduism needs to have professional staff. By the way, if you want to get younger people involved, hire them. Every temple can hire a young person to do their networking, to do their PR, to do even their management. Hire just one person, professional staff. HMEC, I'd highly recommend it for number one reason, to actually spin off. BHP members can be on the board, but HMEC needs to be a professional organization. It needs funding. It needs professional staff, very well established professional staff. Otherwise, we are not going anywhere. This HMEC, the professional staff, should be qualified. Just the way you hire professional staff for a profit-making company, we need to do that for HMEC. Otherwise, this message that we're trying to do, all the labels we have here about what we're trying to accomplish, will be very, very impotent. It won't have an effect. We need to have people who are experienced in running organizations. HMEC can emulate the Association of Hotels. They're doing an amazing job. We can emulate that. That means there's a support system for HMEC to provide to the temples, because the temples cannot survive on their own. They need management support. They need training. They need training in management. They need training in finance. They need training in outreach. How do you reach organizations? And And number three, and lastly, we kind of not only have to do this with the nonprofit organization in terms of HMEC, every temple will also need to have the same approach. Then only we can reach out, we can connect with the community. Then we can have an infrastructure that can help connect with our communities and be stronger that way. That way, we can stand together. Otherwise, a lot of effort that we're putting won't take us too far. With that,
Thank you so much, Swamiji. I think HMEC is getting a good message. Unfortunately, we have limited time. I'd love to hear you more. At this time, I would like to invite Murli Bhattarji, who is the 13th generation priest in his family. He has been working as the chief priest at the Hindu Society of Minnesota for past 16 years, managing a team of 6 priests. He has been in the United States for last 27 years and performed Kumbhabhishekam all over the country. Sri Murli Bhattarji has been associated with HMPC from the beginning. He has represented the priest of North America at World Hindu Congress in New Delhi, India. He is also a member of guiding team of the Hindu Mandir Executive Conference and was recognized as Padma Bhushan, no, Ark Bhushan at the Hindu Mandir Priest Conference. Please welcome Bhattarji.
हरि ओम् ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Namaste and good evening to everyone. Next slide. I am very honored to be here and address all of you in this speech. As mentioned before, my name is Ronald Murali Bhattar and I am a 13th generation priest in my family. I have been working as a chief priest at Hindu Temple of Minnesota. Before I discuss the main message of my speech, I want to do a brief overview of history of HMPC. Next. I want to acknowledge and thank a few individuals who took the initiative to develop HMPC into a wing of HMEC. The pioneers were Sant Gupta ji, Sanjay Mehta from Pittsburgh, and Abhay Asthana ji from Boston. So there are so many people who are along with us, and also main motivate people are these 3 who brought all of us together. And also, they came together to give me opportunity to bring all the priests together around the country. Next. The objective of HMPC is the ensure sustainability and advancement of Sanatana Dharma in the United States. Our first conference was held at Hindu Jain Temple, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 2012. This conference was a great success and was attended by more than 80 priests all over the country. The conference proved to serve as a great platform for continued dialogue of all issues related to priests, temple management, and devotees. Next one. One of the great opportunities I have had a priest is to help develop and execute this Hindu Mandir Priest Conference. HMPC is truly a great opportunity for priests around the country to meet and develop connections. Being a priest in the United States has never been easy, and opportunities for recognition and networking are rare. By providing this platform, it allows priests to meet with others, to understand temple systems around the country and learn how they can improve their own temple religious services and offerings. Next. In the growing age, many temples around the country are lagging behind in their appeal to the younger generations, as Swamiji said. These are first, second, even third generation. American Hindus who have difficulty understanding the importance of religion and the meaning behind religious rituals performed regularly and throughout the various occasions. Attending HMPC empowers priests to take initiative and collaborate with others to develop a way to conduct rituals in a way that is beneficial and understandable to newer generations. Usually we used to have two conferences, HMPC conference and HMEC conference. So after this COVID, so it is merged, both HMPC and HMEC. And also HMPC conferences have held different parts of the country. So first one we had in Pittsburgh, followed by New York. We had one in New York, Houston, Texas, Minnesota, Atlanta, Georgia, Virginia, and Atlanta, Minneapolis, Minnesota, of course, California. So we had all over the country. Next one. Although there is a great benefit for priests who attend HMPC, there is also another advantage not made obvious, and that is what different temple management can learn from the relationships between other priests and managements across the country. It is my true belief that a temple can only be successful to its extent where there is a relationship between priests and management that is based on trust, respect, and collaboration. These three qualities are important to forming a long-lasting beneficial relationships, allowing temples to thrive across the country. Next one. To demonstrate the effectiveness of relationship based on trust, respect, and collaboration, I have an example to give. I will use the current temple and Hindu community I serve in Minnesota as an example. Let us first start with trust. At the Hindu temple of Minnesota, the temple management completely and without fail places their utmost trust in me and other priests. The management understands the priests are the experts in conducting religious ceremonies and have trained for several years and at times over decades to achieve the knowledge they possess. This is the equivalent of gaining bachelor's degree, master's degree, or PhD. Every temple should develop leadership among the priests and provide the necessary support to manage religious activities. By doing this, you are completing the second part to develop strong relationships. which is respect. By trusting priests in determining the religious activities of the temple, you are showing respect to them as a knowledgeable religious leaders. Next one. Finally, the third part of the equation is collaboration. Whenever it is appropriate, the temple management should collaborate with priests and should not be eager to interfere religious activities, but instead act as a guiding hand in their activities. By allowing priests to focus on what they are trained in and establishing leadership among the priests, the temple managements can focus on a big picture activities and projects with the goal of bringing together the Hindu community. This can be anything from improving the IT infrastructure of the temple, such as its website, flyers, and social media, to cultural events and activities. All of this can be done through collaboration and communication with the priests. The Hindu Temple of Minnesota has been great benefits and improvements since I implemented this process when I came to the temple in 2007. Since then, even with the temple management changing over the years, the foundation set through trust, respect, and collaboration has not broken and is stronger than ever. Next one. With that being said, I want to now shift to the focus to the future and to the needs of future generations. Those who will inherit our religious and spiritual traditions a few generations from now will find themselves in a vastly different world. In order to serve the needs of these future generations, priests now and in the future must be more than archakas. Here are 4 ways priests need to prepare themselves to better serve future generations. Number 1, next one. Priests need to be complete resource who can relate to the life experiences of future Hindus. Number 2, they need to converse in fluent English. Number 3, they must be able to offer an in-depth comparison of Hindu Dharma against other major religions. Number 4, priests need to be able to consult both adults and the youth on religious and spiritual aspects of daily life. As Swamiji said, Hindu Temple of Minnesota, since from last year, they have created an internship for the high school students, where the second generation. During the summer time, they will hire as interns. There are about 10 to 12 students, and assign different aspects, areas in the temple, like finance, advertising, PR, helping with different activities, working with committee members. So that's happening in the Hindu Temple of Minnesota since from 1 year. Thank you. I understand that this is a lot to ask in the perspective of our current situation, but we must continue to work hard to try to achieve these demands because it is our obligation to future generations. HMEC has started great tradition since the 4th conference held at the Hindu Temple of Minnesota, where we invite and honor senior priests across the country for their incredible work and dedication to the Hindu community. The award given each year is called Archaka Bhushana. Every year, priests are very happy to touched by the recognition they receive through HMPC. Because the Hindu priests have no other platform like HMPC, where they are provided recognition for their service. Next one. Starting this year, HMPC and HMEC will start a new tradition where we will invite and honor priests across the country who have achieved great things for the Hindu community within the 20 years of experience and service in the United States. This new award will be called Archaka Sri. I am very excited for this new honor to be awarded to well-deserving priests during this conference, and future ones to come. Thank you all for listening to my speech, and I sincerely hope that all of you take away the main points of improving relationships with the priests and temple management. I am confident that we all have an exciting and bright future ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bhattaji. At this time, I would like to invite Swami Vigyanandji for a special guest address. He is a founder and global chairman of World Hindu Foundation, WHF. He is a towering practitioner, intellectual of Sanatana Dharma, and distinguished scholar on Hinduism and global Hindu movement. He is an intellectual mentor and strategic guide for hundreds of distinguished Hindu activists and organizations operating multitude of Hindu empowerment and awareness projects with a worldwide scope comprising Asia-Pacific, European, South Asian, African, and American region. He is currently a joint secretary of Vishwa Hindu Parishad of Bharat. He did his bachelor's in engineering from Indian Institute of Technology. I saw him in 2008 in Chicago, and you will see him again in Bangkok. Please invite Swamiji.
Namaste. Jai Shri Ram. My introduction is all from the internet. Somebody has written about me. I have not written. When I was sitting here, I was thinking in the mind, back in Bharat, back in our history, Aurangzeb and his ancestor, they tried to destroy us. They tried to destroy all our temple, And there was a time from Peshawar to Bengal, there was not a single Hindu temple standing. But we as a Hindu, we rose from the mortality to immortality, like a phoenix. Now you can see thousands of Hindu temples coming across the world. That is the strength of the Hindu society. Let me tell you why they were destroying Hindu temple. Because Hindu temple was center of Hindu civilization, where Hindu society gravitates towards the temple. I will tell you one very important incident. Bhai Parmanand, who was the founder and one of the president of Hindu Mahasabha. Actually, he was he's a Arya Samaji. Hindu Mahasabha office is next to the Lakshminarayan temple, which is known as the Birla Mandir in Delhi. One day there was an aarti happening in the temple, Aarti, the aarti is ghanta, tantan, puja, part will all happen. This Arya Samaji, great Hindu revolutionary, scholar, leader, closed his eye. His secretary was one Sarmaji. He asked Bhai Parmanand, Bhaiji, it appeared that you have started doing Murti Puja. Since his Arya Samaji did not do Murti Puja. See the depth of his understanding. He told Sarmaji, I am not doing Murti Puja. You don't understand what he was thinking, Then this tantan, ghanti, puja, aarti was happening, this bell was ringing. I was just thinking, Hindu society had suffered thousands of years of humiliation, torture, and destruction. And they were always in this dark time, when there was no hope, there was complete darkness. In that dark time, they had hope coming from this temple, and they were hearing this bell ringing. There will be time, our hope will also return. एक दिन हमारे दिन लौटेंगे. That is what I was thinking. And Hindu society and believe in this tantan, ghanti, puja of this temple. कि एक दिन हमारे दिन लौटेंगे. That is how temples are very important for our Hindu society. Therefore, our temple is a symbol of Hindu resilience, and that we have to remember. Another point I want to make it here, Mandir bolte na Mandir. How this Mandir word has come? In Panini Sutra, Madihar se and Unadi Sutra, Mandir word is constructed. Means when you are visiting temple, you feel happiness in your heart. I am not using the happiness word in a Western sense, there is no proper word to translate what is the meaning of the harsa, Another thing is also Deo Puja Sankti Daneshu, And temple, our Mandir has a 14 duty. 14 duty. If you don't do 14 duty, at least 5 duty you have to do minimum. Then only you are a Hindu Mandir. And this 5 duty, one is Garbhagriha is for Dev Puja. Garbhagriha is for Dev Puja. And Mandir has a Nritya Mandap. Nritya Mandap is all for our art and culture, which is Bharatnatyam, Kathak, Carnatic music, all the music, Even if you go in Banaras Hindu Vishwavidyalaya, there is a Vishwanath temple, Kasi Vishwanath temple. And the department of Lalit Kala is all taking place in the temple. All the classes is conducted in the temple. Third is Sabha Mandap. Sabha Mandap, discussion about the Hindu society. Fourth is Annadana. If you are a temple, if you are not doing Annadana, then you are missing very important part. And fifth is Agraharam, teaching, about dharma and culture and that is everything. Vidya, If these 5 things is there, then only you are a temple. If you are missing, then you all decide what you are doing, You are not completing as a duty as a temple. I am coming from the Toronto, In Toronto, more than 2 lakh students have come there, And they are struggling to feed, And many of them, they are going to the same Khalistani Gurdwara to get the food. And we have big temple, Hindu society much richer than them. Hindu society, much bigger population there. But we are not looking after our own students. Some of the temple recently have started this Annadanam, Annadanam for the students. And recently I was there when we had a meeting, we decided we will set up our kitchen and we will cook and distribute in the temple so that our student will not struggle, So this is the need of the hour. Coming to the Hindu Mandir Priest Conference. We have a tradition of Kul Guru and Kul Purohit, So I have request to all the temple executive president secretary, don't treat your priest as an employee, Priest are your, Acharya. And also I have request to Acharya and priest, don't treat your temple as you are, doing employee, You have opportunity to serve the God also. In our temple, in history, the God, our Bhagavan Murti, owned the estate. How many of you are aware of that? Maharana Pratap, Maharana Shanga, Maharana Kumbha, they never use the word Maharaja. Why? The whole estate belonged to Ekling. The king of the state was Ekling Bhagavan Shivji. And they were Maharana because Maharana means Diwan Mantri. All they were Mantri on behalf of the Devata. They were ruling on behalf of the Ekling. That is our tradition. On the same way, I have a request to all those who are involved in as executive of the temple or a priest of the temple to serve the Hindu society with the same spirit. And coming to the Swamiji Swatmananji was mentioning about the Okism. Why this Okism is happening? This is not only for Hindu society, across the world. America, which is richest, most powerful country, defeated the communism in a real term, but they failed to defeat the communist ideology, Communist ideology came from the Frankfurt School as a critical theory. There was Marxist critical theory. They came here in Colombia, they become critical theory. and they multiplied the tribe. Now this tribe had captured the entire American academia. And first, in the history, American students are destroying America. This is not our problem. This is the problem of the world. We need to counter this with the facts. We need to counter this with our theory, our processes. And those things we need to teach. We don't have academic system here, but at least we should start countering this. Unless we deconstruct them, we will not be able to save our society. And coming to the Swamiji mentioned about the fund and philanthropy, paid staff. You are living in America. There is a survey by P4. I don't have to tell you. It is all available on the internet. Hindu society household income in $150,000. We are richest community here. The wealth creation, the richest community is Jews. And the Muslim in the wealth creation are the very lowest. But who has spent more money? Jews have spent 7.5% of their income on their community cause. Muslims have spent 5% of their income on their community cause. Hindu has spent 0.02% of the community cause. So there is a responsibility to Swamiji and priest also to connect, because you are doing puja and visiting all these places, to inspire them to do their responsibility and dharma duty for dharma. Therefore, there is a dharma rakshiti rakshita. Dharma protects, is protected. If you don't protect, dharma will also not protect. Namaste.
Thank you. 1 minute, Swamiji. I would like to invite Lakshmi Bhimapati ji to honor Swamiji, since he will not be here for the rest of the conference. So, Lakshmi ji, please honor Swamiji. So that ends the first session, 0 sessions. Now the next session, I would like to invite Ami Patel to conduct the next session. Thank you.
Namaste everyone, Pranam. I would like to invite the next moderator for the session. It is Deepak Bandyaji. He serves as the Mahant and Managing Trustee at Sri Yoga Vedanta Ashram in Mattawa, New Jersey since 1998. Running an ashram for 25 years in the tri-state area, he has served the local community from spiritual guidance to counseling families and teens in all different capacities while giving them insights on how to bring dharma and our practices in daily life. He also serves as the Hindu chaplain for Rutgers University, is on the board of the Multi-Faith Council there. Deepalji has had many pivots in life and which has given him a very holistic view on individual growth and how to integrate spirituality in modern daily life. After graduating from Stevens Institute of Technology in early 90s, Deepalji went on a spiritual journey and was inspired to devote himself in a monastery in Bharat after being blessed with Kundalini awakening from his guru, Sant Shri Asharamji Babu, which resulted in a transformative experience and dimensional shift. Few months turned into 5 years of deep practice of meditation, seva, and contemplation on Advaita Vedanta. Deepalji gained invaluable experience in running a dharmic seva-oriented spiritual organization with the sole aim to elevate one being at a time. In addition to this, he owns and operates a construction and land development firm and lives with his wife and 3 kids in Monroe. Please help me welcome Deepalji.
Namaste, Hari Om, and with folded hands, I bow to the divinity within each of you, gleaming with joy, resilience, and love for your dharma. may this divinity continues to guide us, strengthen us, empowers us. Om, Om, Om. My fellow Sanatanis, esteemed guests, Swamijis, my session is about Mandir and community wellness. Mandir and community wellness. Community involving, starting with parents, youth, and seniors. How does Mandir bring more than just devotional experience into their life to make it more enriched? I think is something that we're going to discuss in my session. How being a Mahant or being running an ashram for 25 years, I've seen that we need to go beyond the boundaries of temples and ashrams and shrine, go into the families, go into the youth, and where there's need for counseling, mentoring, coaching. I think that's a space where we, either as an executive of temples or priest, we need to fill that void and gap where parents are not able to communicate with their children effectively. And so from my experience as an ashram, running an ashram, that I saw a very big void of youth counseling in college space. As Swamiji mentioned, wokeism influences by the religion, and our youth not being empowered with the right knowledge of our dharma, not being able to value its richness, then I basically just jumped into that space. And I also am as a chaplain, I serve in Rutgers Community College. So same thing we're going to discuss, where temple executives and priests can nominate and can seek a talent within their community and bring them into the nearby universities and colleges and have them be a representative for our Hindu Dharma. There are a lot of things in addition to being in temple that we can do in order to bring differences. We need to find new ways to make differences in lives and devotees and inspire the youth to get involved. As the Swamiji mentioned, that we don't see any youth here, absolutely. And that's something that we can really learn a lot from BAP, as we'll go there tomorrow. And I think bringing youth into our space will give them the seva, the spirit of seva will not only get them involved, but also bring sense of loyalty and belongingness so that they can be the next future. Like in my ashram, our landscaping, our maintenance, is all done by youth and fellow members. We don't outsource it. Just that itself has saved so many youth now. They go on and become professionals, but they still remember their experience of cutting the lawn, doing this, doing that. And that sort of, touch and feel of seva, I think, is something that we can all get more into. So I think with that, we're going to introduce our, I'll be moderating a session. Can we, gentlemen, call the individuals that are a part of our panel to come up? We have Dr. Lakshman Prajapati, Yoginder Gupta, Ashwini Kumar, who is a Dayton Hindu Temple. I'll introduce them as their session comes, but how many of them are here? Lakshmanji is here. Yeah, please, I guess everyone is coming up here. They're going to come up here. So please, I'd like to get my panel up here. Madhuji. Okay, so one of you come up. So one of you can come up, right? Okay, sure. Okay, sure. Please. we can come, all the speakers, please take seat, and then one by one, everybody will have a turn. We will need a mic, so we'll just have a one mic. First, I'd like to welcome Anand Dixit ji. Anandji was born and raised in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. He pursued training and study in theory, practice, and method of Vedic yajnas, Pran Pratishta, Shodha Sanskar, and Sanskrit literature at Bhagavad Vidyapit, Sola, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. During his stay at Bhagavad Vidyapit, he had the great honor and privilege of studying Shukla Yajurveda from Vedati Sri Shantila Joshi ji, Sanskrit Sahitya from Sri Gaurinath Shukla ji, who were honored by the Gujarat government. I'd like to welcome Dixit ji to please speak a few words. You there?
Namaskar. Tuktavu Agartha Jagatapidaro Vande Parvati Parameshwara. Namaskar to all the spiritual seekers. It is a great honor and privilege to have the opportunity to meet so many spiritually inclined immigrants who are older and do not know English. To attempt to bridge the language gap, it is priests that we have to learn and make it more interesting. Older Hindus want temple to be done in our traditional languages. Younger groups are interested in interpretation in English. So this is where we have to make some changes. Takeaway, members must understand that we have to reach younger audience. Now from all types of pujas, Vedic, Agamic, Vaishnava, Shaivat and Shaktis. As we all know, there are so many different traditions. So when we are taking care of the temple devotees, all the devotees have different expectations. I'll give you a simple example of celebrating Navaratri. So when we start Navaratri celebration in the southern part of India, especially in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and southern, they have Golu. Along with this Golu, we have chantings of Lalita Sahasranam and Puja and so on, Kumkum Archana and so on. So if the priest is well versed in this particular part, he is able to take care of the South Indian devotees. When it comes to northern part of India, we have devotees during this Navaratri, they do Mata Ki Chauki. So if you are familiar with this, and if you are familiar with this music and so on, you are able to take care of our Punjabi devotees with this nice melodious bands and make it interesting. For our Gujju devotees, we can do Garba and so on. It is not only this. So you can see the diversity in taking care of only one festival. Likewise, we have so many such festivals where we have to deal with so many different regional devotees. And this is how we can keep everyone engaged and everyone we can keep and keep happy. And this is the priest's important role. And this is what priests have to learn and evolve and try to make it interesting for our services. Yeah. So now, so this is what we talk about, this give pravachan instead of rituals. So when we are performing rituals, before we start, we have to give why we are doing that particular ritual. Let us say that we are doing Namakaran Sanskaram, and I'm primarily dealing with on a regular basis. Most of our young couple, before they get married, they want to make their wedding ceremony as short as possible, and sometimes they don't want to do at all. So before they make this decision, I said, let me talk to the bride and groom, and I will explain them. And after my conversation, if they say they don't want to do, we'll be happy to do this. So I will go in detail and I will emphasize what is the importance of this Vedic Sanskara. And after my meeting, they are ready to do this entire Vedic ceremony for an hour. So there is always fight between the parents and children in order to do this, conduct the Vivaha Sanskar ceremony. So there are so many challenges that all the priests we have to face. Unfortunately, I can see I don't have any time. I would love to share more views in terms of evolving role of the priest with the rest of the community after this presentation is over. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Namaskar.
Thank you, Dikshitji, for that very good, insightful, and inspiring new and more broader role of priests. And I am very confident that HMEC as a whole is here to provide that the support. And one other thing I'd like to chime in on that is that many times priests are post questions from the younger generation, which may be very difficult to answer, just because the nature of the questions and the nature of them being in a very, for 8 hours, a very different environment. So there's support system. We've created a network of Hindu Parent Network, HPN, through Kona. And that network supports parents and also children. There's different series of talks and discussion that children can join. So there are certain avenues where, in addition to the Bal Vihars that are in local temples, we can inspire them to join those networks. The next I'd like to invite for the talk is Madhu Sharma ji. So Madhuji couldn't make it, so I believe, no, Madhuji's. Madhu Sharma ji is a former Hindu chaplain from Duke University. We definitely have a lot to talk about afterwards. After serving for almost 9 years and a former board member of Hindu Society of North Carolina, a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering from North Carolina State University, and MSW from Iowa, and a PhD in Hinduism from Hindu University of America. She has presented at World Hindu Congress and HMSC, and she's also an author of Anxiety and Vedic Wisdom and Dharmic Advisor, A Modern Way. Thank you for coming, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Deepati. And yes, we need to talk about that. I do remember when Rutgers was looking for somebody like you. So thank you for that. And before I start my few minutes of talk, I want to start with a story that actually a year ago, one of our prominent psychiatrists in Raleigh-Durham area, I'm from Raleigh-Durham area, Dr. Harish Tarwani, and he's a psychiatrist. He approached me and my husband Bharat to say that 1/3 of his patients were Indian Hindu patients. And he was very puzzled and kind of disturbed to see that the patients had emotional problems, but then, he couldn't just keep giving them medicine. And so he approached me and said, Madhuji, we need to do some spiritual care also, along with the medicine. And so that's our work. We started with the emotional and emotional health. And I'm kind of very impressed with him. He doesn't want to talk about mental health. It's more of an emotional health. So we've been doing some symposiums in Raleigh-Durham area and promoting, and actually for awareness of people that in the community about spiritual care. And like Deepak Ji and I and some others in the community know about this. But with that, obviously in the community we have need with, I don't see the present. Looks like it's not working.
It's okay, we're gonna do impromptu.
So we all know about the needs, such as, we have health issues, we have cultural issues with the youngsters, divorces, we have family debt, hospice, family cultural issues with the relationship, school pressures. But along with some of these negatives, we also don't have younger generation like Swamiji and other Swamijis, other people talked about finding a purpose in life. Our Hindus are not, younger generations not coming to us about purpose of life. What is that? And finding peace and resiliency. So those are some of the things. But what is spiritual health, you might ask? It's more about self. It's more about awareness. It's about understanding who we are, going inside. And I'm preaching to the choir. You all know about this. But how do we bring that out and help our younger people understand that, right? And so that's what spiritual health we're talking about. And the landscape of Hindu spiritual care, elite universities, next slide, please, if you can. Hindu chaplains in elite universities like Duke and Princeton and other elite universities have Hindu chaplains that are paid. And I think I do want to go back to Swamiji earlier said we need to pay people. There are very few people like me as a retired person that maybe want to work full time or part time and help the community. But we do need to bring in younger generation to do this type of work, right? State universities, I volunteered for several years at UNC and, you're doing it. But, Christian and Jewish schools have Hindu chaplains, or I'm sorry, Jewish chaplains or Christian chaplains. Almost all schools do, right? And hospitals have hospitals need Hindu chaplains. Jewish and Christians have chaplains at all hospitals. And we have I think less than 10 or 20 at least maximum that have Hindu chaplains in the hospitals. Community, we have community needs are not met with younger or any Hindu community actually. It's non-existent. Although every church has a pastoral counseling person available there, right? So the next slide, please, next one after that. Spiritual coaching is just to bring it to end here is that Chinmaya Mission has actually started a course which I taught 2 years ago, and we had 50 students all over the world that we train. And actually, by the way, those are out in the community working as Hindu chaplains in the universities, in the hospitals, and in the communities. So training Panditjis, because our Panditjis, with all due respect, they're not trained for spiritual coaching, spiritual counseling. That's not part of their training. That's not part of their education. We need to send them to help with the spiritual care. My mother sitting over there, like for 40 years, she single-handedly helped thousands of people in our community. With, but no formal education. But now we do have formal education available. So we need to use that and bringing the psychology part of it and the spiritual coaching together to do that. Training for healthcare or several actually doctors, physicians were in my class to train as Hindu spiritual care providers. So our Vedas are anything, but they're all about spiritual care. Our Vedas are totally about learning and finding out and understanding who we are inside. They're not about outside as much as they are about inside. Learning, understanding, and taking care of our spiritual self. That's what they're about. And we are missing the boat, I think, with the younger generation and not helping them understand that that's what life is about. Living a life, a balanced life of, karma, artha, and all that. But having fun, making money, all of that is good. But also living a karmic life, living a life of a person, a balanced person, and understanding and having that emotional health to some extent in control, to understanding what that is. And we need to teach. We need to first of all learn and then have those people, spiritual care providers in the community, in the hospitals, in the universities, help younger generation and older generation. Older generation means people who are getting older. They need spiritual care more than anything else right now.
Right.
They need, older people need also. So with that, I am going to ask you, my presentation is called for action. Mandirs must provide spiritual care coaching. And I have started a website called spiritualcarecoach.com, and which is actually a network of coaches, and people can go in there and ask for help. And by the way, this is not just America. We're looking at UK and Australia, India, and all that. So I'm hoping to provide a network of coaches, and people can sign in that. So with that, I will end and ask you how many of the temples here are willing to participate and provide spiritual care coaching as part of their temples. Good. So with that, I'd like to thank you for, if you're interested in participating and becoming coach, spiritual care training certificate, participate with the website, please talk to me after the session. Thank you.
Mataji, खूब साधुवाद, and we are taking questions at the end of the session. There will be 20 minutes allotted for questions for all speakers. Thank you, Mataji. And to echo your point about chaplaincy, in fact, even in records, I'm the only volunteer chaplain. Everyone, even the imam, is fully paid in 6 figures. And he's a young, vibrant guy just like me, but he comes with his own. He's fully focused on it. So, as Swamiji mentioned, we're going to keep echoing this topic that we must think of us as one unit, like a one big mega franchise brand, and each unit being there and then having a corporate support structure through HMSC where we can provide counseling, different programs, and different avenues of evolving the Mandir experience as a.
But see, that imam is actually paid by the community.
He's paid by the local mosque and the community.
Right.
And also so nobody's paid by the university, by the way. Even the Christian pastorals and everything, the Catholic Church pays, the Catholic Protestant Church pays for the Protestant, individual. But yes, to continue our discussion on this thing that, this current sphere we're in definitely requires mental and spiritual as we think it is, and the lack of it is missing the spiritual science and connecting it to our dharma and the daily practice of meditation. Something simple as pranayama is missing. The next speaker we have is Brahmachari Surya Narayan. I am so sorry, Brahmachari ji, I don't have your background. No one gave it to me.
You can start my time after my introduction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might can work. Or you can come here.
I can stand here, I think, that's fine.
Okay.
Hari Om, Sri Ganeshaya Namaha, Sri Saraswati Namaha, Om Namo Gurubhyah. My name is Brahmachari Suryanarayana. I am from Ashra Vidya Gurukula. And so I do outreach activities for the ashram, Gurukula. And during camps, I give sessions for the youths. And also I do a lot of outreach activities. And so today, this is a topic I've been asked to address. And is that a good introduction? We can start. So everybody remember Ashra Vidya Gurukula and try to come there. So that should be the main introduction there, I think. So Swamiji is also from there. I missed Swamiji speak in the beginning. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Saraswati Namaha, Om Namo Gurubhyah. So for this topic, Mandir and community wellness, so Seva projects and involving youths, I have chosen our own ashram as a model. So what we do there and how we go about being there. And before that, I would like to say, our Swami Dayananda Saraswati Maharaj, he says the word Seva is very difficult to translate. It doesn't lend itself for translation in English because so much Sanskrit I know, as much Sanskrit as I know. So Seva means something you experience. You experience with the oneness and then you serve. So it's a very paradoxical thing. When Seva, you give your time, you give your effort, but still you feel so fulfilled and satisfied, right? So that's because of the oneness, which we take as an example even when we want to drive the point of oneness in Vedanta. So Seva goes a long way to show even how Vedanta works when you see the oneness. In every life activities, whatever our accomplishments, it's all because we kept the adhishta phala in our goal. Suppose if you want to study for a higher degree, you're keeping the adhishta phala in your eyes.
So that is how seva is a very holy thing, very sacred thing. And in bhakti, when there is no knowledge, they call it blind. And in knowledge, when there is no bhakti, they call it dry. But in seva, you may or may not have bhakti, you may or may not have knowledge. The end result will always be accomplished. So that way, seva is something very higher. And so Swamiji always
that the youth and kids connect. They can't, they may not have that same emotional bonding. Vijay, thank you so much for your continued service on ground. I know it's not easy. I mean, the grind. And they've started something very unique and something that definitely can be taken as inspiration. So please, I welcome you to share your senior care seva.
यार जी एक सेकेंड का स्लाइड वो है ना का जस्ट अ सेकेंड आप वहाँ से अपना फोन वो खोलिए मेन जो था
Pandit Ashwini ji from Dayton, Ohio, but because of health reasons, she could not come, and we are going to present
session
this topic.
present session 1
Okay, actually Panditji was going to give the temple side of a senior living community
सीनियर वाला
that we are building next to the Hindu temple in Dayton, Ohio. And
slideshow
these are this is Panditji, Vishnu Kumar ji. We're looking forward to this presentation. And okay, the next slide, please. Okay, this is just
Mike.
a drawing.
बंद कर दिया
Mike is not operating.
This is just a artist's drawing of the land, and my journey through this has been phenomenal, especially looking at the response from the community and also from builders and developers.
Google Chrome
there is so much cohesion. I
Google
was
Chrome
surprised
खोलिएगा।
to see how things are coming together.
Yeah.
And we are able to move forward with the development that we really feel that for the community it can be a unifier in spiritual ways and proximity to the temple, frequent participation in religious ceremonies, prayers and rituals. Any senior can basically walk up to the temple to just sit there and participate in services regardless of the time of the day or the evening ceremonies. Next door to the temple, spiritual talks, discussions, study sessions, and those activities are always going on at the temple. And living near a place of worship offers residents emotional comfort and spiritual sustenance, close connection. Do we have some more slides there?
सर आप बताइए ना
Yeah. Next slide, please. This is just, okay, next slide, please. Some of the community building activities are going to be facilitated being there in the temple. Next slide, please. Emotional, spiritual support, cultural preservation, can have items, children, grandchildren, they can get involved visiting, giving them more chances of involvement into the temple activities. Next slide, please. Festival celebrations, community service and volunteerism. Next slide, please. Community resilience, spiritually harmonious community development. So I can just keep on going, but my main thing is that it is actually given the support of our community coming together, and a lot of people like me who came here in 70s and 60s before that are getting to age where they're looking for a community living, and then there is a boom for builders who are looking at our potential of being able to purchase the buildings has really come together, and we have a sort of looked at this in another way, which is more like to present it, that if any one of you feel interested in your community, for no charge, anyone can contact me, and I can go over some of the things that I have learned, and I found this much doable than sometimes you think it's formidable task. But because of the positivity of the factors, we are able to move forward and feel that every community has about the same economic and other mixes, and maybe feeling like wanting to do it. So, go ahead. Thank you.
Growing elderly population, across the country of Indian origin, which has developed a need for the spiritual care, when elderly people are either in hospital, in nursing home, or at home, hospice care has evolved this need. And our temple has developed a chaplaincy program. And on this slide, you see the ID badge of one of our priests, which is given to him as a clergy, as a chaplain from the Kettering Health Network in Dayton, Ohio. And our three priests are all recognized as the chaplains. It helps them reach out to the patients and their families when they request, a prayer or a visit with a little bit of chawal and kumku, and they feel so blessed. This is an invaluable spiritual support to the growing elderly population in local Hindu community. As we talk about spiritual care and the chaplains join hands, which are already there, Christian chaplains and Jewish, and also now Hindu chaplain, almost like first responders. If I may just take half a minute, there is a bhajan video of Ashwini ji, who couldn't be here. Anita ji, it was played in the beginning of this presentation. If we could play it for just 30 seconds. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And what a great vision you and Sriniji have about taking care of the seniors that have come to the temple and provided all kind of support and to have temple be part of their life in the later year of their journey is very commendable and inspirational. Thank you. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Lakshman Prajapati. Lakshmanji, I've known him for 20 some years and is an amazing individual. By profession, he's a cardiologist. He was born and raised in a very small village near Rajasthan, near Jaipur, Rajasthan. Came in 2002 after MBBS, did his MD here in general medicine. He did his fellowship from a very renowned, prestigious organization here, Mount Sinai Hospital. And right now he's practicing as a cardiologist in Pittsburgh area. But that's just a professional introduction. In addition, in the daytime, he operates on the heart, and in the evening hour, he blooms the heart with the devotional kirtan and sangeet and just inspires the listeners to be more God intoxicated. So with that, Lakshmanji, my young brother, I want to invite you.
Slide one. It's not going through.
Hari Om. Om Sri Guruvai Namo. Gangapate Namo. Sri Saraswate Namah. Bolo Bajrangbali ki.
So the presenter mode.
Bolo Bajrangbali ki.
Yes, PPT.
Volume control, please. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om. सबको मैं प्रणाम करता हूँ और जो संत लोग और जो पुजारी जी लोग बैठे हुए हैं यहाँ पे तो उनको मैं क्षमा चाहता हूँ मैं नॉट शास्त्र गया था सो प्लीज कोई क्षमा कोई मेरे से अपराध हो तो क्षमा करे उसके साथ ही कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट हूँ मैं आई एम कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट एंड इंटरवेंशनल कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट ट्रांसप्लांट कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट did some study born in Rajasthan, Dixit by Babu Asaram ji, took Master Diksha from him, and then I'm affected by many more sons. Today, I was affected by Sri Sanjay Mehta for 6 hours. Bolo Sanjay Mehta ji ki. Just the volume, please. So, when I came to USA, I was doing the bhajans and everything, going to the community to raise their awareness and then next slide please. Doing my stuff and you know what? Bhakti-maya, most of the life Bhakti-maya only. And then I started looking that many of the Indians are dying early from heart attack and strokes. And you have seen in Pittsburgh, my personal experience, you can see this study shows that Indians are at high risk, male or female, than any other, including in white and any Asians or anything else. But Indians are specifically more high risk of heart attack, strokes, and everything. So I was very shocked with that, studied more and did more. So there, next slide, please. Slide show. Then I thought, what's going on in this community? How we want to look ourselves. And 1, 2, 3. This is not counted, please. 1. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Little bit more. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. That's good. Thank you. So now, 1 slide back, 3 slides back, please. So I thought, how we want to look like, and how we want to look our kids to look like. Do you want to look like Hanumanji and Ramdas and Mahana Pratap, right? That's what we want to look like, and that's what we want our kids to do, like with Dharma Raksha, like with what they did. Next slide. We want to look our girls like this, right? Sanatani Shakti Bolo Ilewai ji ki Jai Ho. Next, please. Lakshmi Bai ki Jai Ho. Or we'll look like this, right? So Makachor to Bhagavad Gita. There's a whole journey there. And then now we come to the donuts here. कहाँ से चले थे कहाँ आए थे रज्जब तूने गजब किया सिर पे बांधा मोर चला था हरि भजन को चला किधर की और बोलो सिया और रामचंद्र की भाई थोड़ा माइक सेट कर दो यार Personal experience, lot of heart attacks going in the community. I'm trying to do some, see, so many thousand people try to do some good work, and out of them only one goes to Bhagavad Karya and do some little bit to Dharma. Even them dying. So I was so shocked. Then what we are doing that we came to America from India, and then we took away some good things. Brought some good things from there, and then we took good things from America, and then we brought some bad things and took the bad things. So we have to think what we are doing at what level, right? So let's keep going. Next slide, please. So what is Sanatani Swastika? When I research about it, I can give a whole talk about what are the risk factors in Indians. You know, hypertension, borderline diabetes, borderline cholesterol, all these things. So we can work on those things, but what is swastika according to Hindu Dharma? Okay? So that is idam sariram khalu dharma sadhanam. When we talking to Melaji today, we were thinking why we should be healthy to serve dharma. Because idam sariram khalu dharma sadhanam. Ye Swamiji, right? This is right thing. Why we want to enjoy? What to enjoy? The worldly things, so we want to serve dharma. That's the whole concept I'm going to talk. Now, by the time heart attack happens, the person already has plaques everywhere. Okay? So pressure person has plaques everywhere. By that time, you might have another heart attack, so you are permanent customer for a cardiologist. Okay? थोड़ा mic set कर दो यार, थोड़ा I'm sorry not getting. Oh, you good? Okay, no problem. Then good. Thank you. So now, by the time you have heart problem or heart attack, stroke, it's very late. By that time, by that time, the bhais is already in pani and you are pulling with the tail, right? It's too late. So what to do with that? Next slide, please. We need to know the all essential keywords. There is a wonderful video by Sri Jeffrey Armstrong ji. He is right here. Thank you to him. Bolo Jeffrey Armstrong ji. He has a fantastic video, 10 essential words. But then I have these more words. We need to know all about our Sanatana Dharma. 3 bodies, 5 koshas, 25 elements. Then you will treat. We should know the problem, right? वैसे होता है ना कि one person going on the pathways, 3 thought is a pathway, but there is a python is next. So it's not pathway, it's python's trap. Don't go there because then you will get into it. So next slide, please. And then primary prevention, allopathy, you all of you know, I teach all these things to my patient and I charge $250 for 10 minutes. Next slide, please. Please keep. You know all of these things, please keep next slide. Bolo Bajrang Bali ki. 7 minutes में तो यही मिलेगा sir. Please, yeah. So you want to keep, when you eat, think about what you are keeping happy. Are you keeping your liver happy? You are keeping pancreas happy, brain happy, gut happy. One after another. Chalne to. Spinach and palak available all over the US and Canada in all Walmarts. Please eat them every day, regardless of your prakriti. I did not put tomato because you are vata prakriti. Tomato going to hurt you. Okay, little bit. So you and your research coming. I will do all these things on Zoom. Next, please. So now we talk about sag and we call about karma bhai. Karma bhai feeding khichda and Vidurani eating sag. दुर्योधन को मेवा त्यागो साग विदुर घर खाई सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई. These are counted in minutes. Okay. Your liver is very sensitive. It won't speak until you keep feeding and kill it. So when you go outside, when you eat, think about your liver, think about your pancreas, think about your brain. So these are very important things. Please next. 5 types of oils, sugars, and all the grains. Maida ko mat khao, oil ko khaiye. All these things. Please keep going. Corn syrup is a poison. It's like alcohol. This time will not be counted. So corn syrup is as bad as alcohol. You are feeding all corn syrup in all these things. I showed the picture to your kids. You are feeding them alcohol. Same damage. That medical data is there. You can come and talk to me separately. Please next. No high fructose, but eat the fruits. Then food bacteria. Keep going, please. Yeah. Next, we will do on Zoom. Please keep going. Eat dahi and all the good stuff. Kanjivada and all the stuff. Please. Ayurvedic Siddhants, very basic things. Siddhants are there. Please learn them. You are brown skin. Allopathy will not work on you. You are brown skin. Allopathy is not meant for you. Bolo Ayurvedic. Patte kupatte apatte vish. Eating kheer and dahi together, how will you be dharmkari karta? You will be sick, right? You got the point? Thoda thoda deta hu aaj. Next. Then you party, Atithi Devo Bhav, Atithi Aaya, you are feeding them all tamsi food, killing them slowly. Are you doing the right thing? No? Rajasthan, you come in the park, and then you put tilak. Then you behave like Deva, you are Atithi Deva, I will be Deva, right? So you work like Deva, feed the Deva prasadam. It should be sattvic prasadam. Please keep going. Party suggestion I will give. Indian festival food, they say this is bad food. No, this is much better than the donuts and all the stuff. Eat them on the festivals only, not every day. Bolo sabhi mithai eat jam. Festival food, paratha, paratha, chalo nahi hoti, chalo. All gulab jamun, beautiful things. They always say these are bad things. Who told you they are bad things? You should eat them in the festival time, fun time, not every day. Okay, chalu rakho. Eat salad. Vidyavan Punyati chalu, Badran Bali ki chalu rakho. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Let's keep going. Surya Namaskar we'll do in 6 o'clock. If I'm not speaking anything, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning we will do yoga session in the same hall, and I will tell you in detail everything, all of free of the course. Please next. We do pranayam, we do mudras tomorrow. The only one asana you should not do is this. Keep going. When you don't follow me, then you